I'm gonna draw your mom.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. What is our last look at the upcoming Lourdes Juarez versus Yo Costa Valle light flyweight title fight for what is Lourdes' WBC title. And I want to preface everything I'm about to say with this. I don't actually like this fight for Yo Costa Valle, going back up to light flyweight, where she reigned briefly as a unified champion after beating then unified champion Evelyn Bermudez and subsequently moving back down. Now MVP has her moving back up.
What would you have preferred?
She already has a WBC title in the minimum weight division, so get her another minimum weight champion. Get her unified champion, Sarah Borman. That's what I was hoping for, and that's what I would have preferred, but this is what they decided to do. Yo Costa sports a professional record of 34 wins with 3 losses and no draws, 10 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 37 professional bouts, 33 years old.
Having reigned as a champion across 3 weight classes, to the champion Lourdes Juarez, a 2-weight world champion who is 39 years old.
Sporting a professional record of 39 wins with 4 losses and no draws, 5 recorded knockouts, having been knocked out once, just once, in 43 professional bouts. Currently on a 5-fight winning streak after 2 back-to-back losses to then champion Ashley Gonzalez in March of 2023. She's fought 5 times since then and won 5 times since then.
Last in action on what was an MVP show in October of the previous year opposite the ring, former champion Jessica Neri Plata in defense of her WBC title. A successful defense she won via a majority decision. Can she do it again against Yo Costa Valle?
Yo Costa Valle, who was last in action in December of the previous year opposite the ring Yadira Bustillos in what was her MVP debut, winning a majority decision over 10 rounds. Currently on a 4-fight winning streak after having dropped a decision to then undisputed champion Senicia Estrada in March of 2024, Yo Costa has fought 4 times since then and won 4 times since then. Is she gonna win tomorrow?
Why don't you like this fight?
Oh, I didn't say I didn't like the fight. I said I don't like the fight for Yo Costa. There's a difference. It's a good fight. It's a very good fight between 2 experienced champions, though perhaps not the best fight for Yo Costa when there are unifications available at her own weight. Having her move up to fight for this single belt,
it's pointless.
because say she wins and becomes a light flyweight champion for the 2nd time, she already beat the other champion at the weight, Evelyn Bermudez.
Coincidentally, MVP signed her too.
But say Yo Costa wins tomorrow, there's no point in putting her back in the ring with Evelyn. She already beat Evelyn. What would have made more sense is to set up Lourdes against Evelyn so they can fight for undisputed, and Yo Costa, get her one of the champions at her own weight.
That's what I would have preferred.
Tomorrow's fight could prove a difficult one for Yo Costa Valle now that she's moving back up to light flyweight, because where Evelyn Bermudez was willing to mix it up with Yo Costa in the pocket when they fought,
She was.
Lourdes is going to do the opposite. She's going to get on her toes, she's going to move around, she's going to make Yo Costa come to her.
Mid-range to inside, Yo Costa Valle is a very proficient, prolific combination puncher. She likes to be busy in a round, but if she has to spend most of the round chasing her opponent,
She could lose this thing. It is not a foregone conclusion that either Yo Costa wins or Lourdes wins.
Lourdes gets on her toes, starts sticking and moving, makes it difficult for Yo Costa to land her punches because she won't engage. She could lose this thing.
Simultaneously, even though Lourdes is the more mobile fighter, she's also older by 6 years. She's 39, knocking on the door of 40 years old. Does she still have it in those 39-year-old legs to keep distance?
Well, she did in her last fight.
It's an intriguing stylistic matchup for all the right reasons, because Yo Costa is good at closing the distance and letting punches go, but Lourdes is good at keeping distance and controlling the distance at which a fight is being fought.
So neither fighter is going to fight the other on the other's terms. Who's going to be able to impose their will?
So I want to say, when Lourdes Juarez lost those 2 fights to Ashley Gonzalez, she lost both of those fights on the back foot, as Ashley was being the busier fighter, and maybe there's a chance that that happens tomorrow. I'm gonna go with Yo Costa Valle to eke out a points win on activity. For me, it's either Yo Costa wins or the fight is a draw.
Elsewhere in the world of boxing, more empty promises from Team Benavidez as Jose Benavidez Sr. came on the Fight Book podcast talking about the potential fight between his son and Bivol.
Anybody still thinks that fight is going to happen has got to be on drugs.
He said David and Bivol for all the belts from 175 to David's titles he just won. This is for the Mexican people. They want this.
The Mexican people Chavez just said don't know David Benavidez. Why do you keep trying to pawn him off as some categorical Mexican fighter when he's not a Mexican national? You yourself know how this works. Oscar De La Hoya, in his heyday, was one of the most popular fighters the sport had ever seen. More accomplished, far more accomplished, and popular than David is now. And the Mexican nationals didn't accept him as one of their own.
And if you're old enough, you'll remember that Oscar was a huge draw, way more than David is now, and the Mexican nationals did not accept him as one of their own because he was born in the United States, the same as David. That dichotomy didn't all of a sudden change.
Jose Benavidez continued it will be a semi-full weight and cruiserweight will be involved, a duel, and the winner takes it all in 2027.
Ain't taking shit because it ain't gonna happen. David's not getting down to light heavyweight, and I don't think Dimitri will concede weight to David.
For what? Use the ones who have spent weeks, months, saying that you can still get down to light heavyweight, so get down to light heavyweight.
They can.
And they know they can't. But they need to convince people that these are the fights they're interested in. They need to convince people that if these fights didn't happen, well, it's not our fault. The WBC ordered it.
Yeah, but it wasn't their turn yet. You guys knew that Dimitri was busy.
Well, we sent Dimitri an offer.
Is that before or after Samson Lukowicz petitioned the WBC for a Mikhailian fight at cruiserweight? When did you send the offer? And what was the offer for? What was the dollar amount? And at what weight? Because depending on what the offer was, that'll tell us how serious you are or how serious you're not about fighting Dimitri.
For me, it's just more of the same. These are just rhetorical questions to all assert the same thing I've been telling you all along. His light heavyweight campaign will come and go without a Bivol fight, without a Better Beef fight. Now he's stuck at cruiserweight, but he doesn't want to fight the top guy up there either, because he has no history of doing that, and it isn't about to change now.
It's what I've been telling you all along. They're doing what I said they would do. They just have to cover it up.
They never seriously expected to fight Dimitri. They never really tried to. It was always about convincing people they were trying to. It was all about angling, politics, optics, but it was never really about a fight, because David Benavidez isn't about fighting the best.
You collude with the WBC, convince them to order the fight at a time where you knew he was busy, you knew he wasn't going to be available.
And because he's not available, you get a shiny new email belt that you didn't have to fight for, while convincing a bunch of rubes that it's Dimitri that's scared of you.
I wonder how long it'll be before he drops it.
Because he's not dropping back down to light heavyweight, so I wonder how long will the World Boxing Council let him hang on to that belt. And at cruiser, it's even more obvious.
This guy's scared shitless of Jai Opataya.
The moment they find out Jai Opataya's booked himself a fight with a champion, what do? They collude with the WBC again.
And this collusion, this corrupted framework, is what these misguided idiots are trying to protect. You think you're protecting boxing from a monopoly when you're just protecting the one that's already there.
Because what is this if not a monopoly? Don't you see they're trying to freeze out Jai Opataya from the world title picture? And for what? Because he signed to Zuffa? Where else was he supposed to go? Nobody else made him an offer.
What else is this if not a monopoly?
They decide who gets to fight for a title and who doesn't. It's not about climbing up the ranks and earning it the right way, doing the right thing. Right and wrong don't even come into it. Because if it did, Ryan Garcia wouldn't have a title right now.
That guy should have never got a title shot, let alone two.
Gets himself suspended for testing positive for a banned substance, and what does the WBA do? They give him a title shot. He loses in that title shot. The World Boxing Council gives him another.
Ryan got a shot at that belt ahead of a lot of guys in the WBC's ranked standings that are fighting in eliminators and paying sanctioning fees just for Ryan to cut ahead in the line. And who let him do it?
The World Boxing Council.
And it's the same with David now. David holds not one, but 2 alphabet titles with 2 other organizations, and the World Boxing Council still let him skip ahead of the line, ahead of all of their ranked cruiserweights and their interim champion, Mikhail Cieslak. Because if you were going to order a fight for Noel, then why didn't you order that one?
It's not about right and wrong. Right and wrong don't even come into it. They reserve the right to decide who even gets to sniff at their belt. It's not a sport if you leave it up to them.
And this is the framework you're trying to protect.
Preserve. You think it's Zuffa that's trying to form a monopoly? You're just helping to protect the one that's already here, the one that's done more to hurt the sport of boxing than grow it.
How does this hurt the sport of boxing? Well, nobody was asking David to fight Noel Mikhailian. That's not a fight that moves the needle. Put that behind a $75 paywall, and nobody's going to pay the piper.
It's not going to grow the sport, enhance its profile. It's not going to do nothing, just like David's last fight. Why do you think we haven't gotten the numbers for his last fight? Or the 4 pay-per-views before that?
It's not going to do shit.
The World Boxing Council is helping David Benavidez circumvent the best competition, the best fights. And it's not helping the division. It's not helping the sport of boxing.
They only do it to help themselves. They figure that we make a little bit more money if David's got our belt than Noel or Jai, so we're going to work to get it to him.
I saw Rick Reno comment on the WBC's recent order saying the WBC has issued similar rulings in the past. Years back, the WBC ordered their light heavyweight champion Adonis Stevenson to fight Sergey Kovalev.
Yeah, and the fight didn't happen.
And they ordered their featherweight champion Gary Russell to face WBA champion Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah, and the fight didn't happen.
I'm pretty sure Rick Reno also remembers when the WBC ordered a Mikey Garcia versus Jorge Linares fight. And that fight didn't happen either. And the thing about all these fights that didn't happen is when they didn't happen, the WBC didn't strip anybody.
No WBC champion lost their title as a result of those fights not happening. So when you all of a sudden threaten Noel, makes it obvious you're colluding with David Benavidez and his promoter Samson Lukowicz, where you're supposed to be an impartial mediator between these fighters and their teams. You're very much partial. It's very obvious in a sport that is so bent, people are used to it.
They expect you to do shit like this, but while you're doing shit like this, you see that the sport is shrinking in America. You see that it doesn't draw the same crowds as the NFL or the NHL, the MLB, the NBA, that in terms of the sporting consciousness, boxing is dead last because most people don't even view it as a sport anymore.
These box office attractions you try to manufacture and pawn off on us, the customers, they're not yielding the desired effect.
So when Jose Benavidez does the rounds on the podcast and keeps making the same empty promises about the same fights I told you wasn't gonna happen,
just remember you heard it here first.
and let me remind you of something that's not so obvious, because a lot of people out there are making this about Jai signing to Zuffa, saying that he costed himself the fight going over there, when Team Benavidez has been putting off this fight since before he signed to Zuffa.
Say it again. It's not about him signing to Zuffa, because they've been putting this fight off before he signed to Zuffa. The videos are up, the interviews, the sound bites, where Jose and David are saying nobody knows Jai Opataya.
Oh, but they know Noel Mikhailian.
Well, Noel's got a belt.
Well, when they first started putting off the fight with Jai, he still had a belt. He still had the IBF title. And they didn't want to do it then. They don't want to do it now. And it's not because of Zuffa.
That's just the latest excuse.
It's because they don't want to fight real competition. They've no history of doing that. They never fight the top guys at any weight they campaign. They just find a way to convince people that it's not their fault when it doesn't happen.
That's what they always do.
When David doesn't unify a goddamn thing at super middle, skips out on B-Vol and Better Beef at light heavy, and when he doesn't fight Jai at cruiser, somehow it's not his fault.
No, it's never his fault.
Now it's time for another installment of what has fast become the most popular segment here on the channel, Ring IQ Hate Mail!
Guess who's back?
Jerry Soriano, that's who, to apologize for David Benavidez, saying, the other guy in the video said, Opataya's negotiating to fight Mikhailian made sense so that Opataya and Benavidez can meet for Undisputed. Now this guy in the video is saying Benavidez is ducking Opataya for fighting the same guy.
No, the guy in the video said they offered David Benavidez an Opataya fight, and he turned it down.
You got that, Jerry? They offered him an Opataya fight, and he said no. The only virtue of Jai fighting Noel Mikhailian was on the premise that David wasn't gonna fight him. If David's not gonna fight you, you might as well go fight Noel.
David said he's not going to fight Jai because he's chasing Bivol. Now he's not fighting Jai because he's fighting Noel?
Stop the cap.
Jerry continued, the other guy in the other video said Benavidez isn't fighting Bivol next.
And he's not.
Because the WBO has ordered Bivol to fight Smith. Now this guy in this video says Benavidez lowballed Bivol, so he would turn down the fight.
No, what I said was that David Benavidez, after moving up to cruiser, won't come back down to light heavy, and all the evidence proves me right. Why do you think he's offering Bivol a catch weight of 190? It's because he can't get back down to 175.
The other guy in the other video said that it's Benavidez's fault that he didn't get the Canelo fight after being the #1 ranked challenger and the WBC interim champion for 3 years. Now this guy in this video is saying the WBC is corrupt and is in collusion with Benavidez.
They are, and I already explained why. At super middleweight, they're not going to shortchange Canelo for David Benavidez, but at light heavyweight they might, which they did.
That's why they ordered a fight between him and Dimitri ahead of schedule, knowing it wasn't their turn. They weren't next in the rotation. Dimitri was busy.
I know you think of these back and forth exchanges as being a battle of wits and a battle of the minds, but all you really look like is a shameless shill who's gonna stick up for David Benavidez no matter how obvious it gets. He doesn't want to fight Jai.
No matter how many times he proves me right, because that's all he's doing. I said his light heavyweight campaign would come and go without Artur, without Dimitri, and I said while he's stuck at cruiser, he still won't fight Jai, and guess what?
He just turned him down.
Jerry continued, and finally, the other guy in the other video said Turkey wants Opataya versus Benavidez for the end of the year. This guy in this video says he wants it next.
No, the guy in the video's not the one saying that. Boxing Scene, Ring Magazine, the news sources are the ones saying that.
Are you stupid?
Are you dumb, or are you just playing dumb?
Jerry continued, so when the IBF settles with Opataya and agrees to let him fight Vidal Riley for the vacant title, and Opataya and Benavidez meet in December for Undisputed, just like Turkey said.
What do you mean meet in December? Are you hard of hearing? David Benavidez is planning his return for November against Mikhailian.
One of these guys will say Benavidez will find a way out of the fight. The other guy will say, I told you he wasn't going down to light heavy.
No, that's not what either of those guys are going to say, because I'm the both of those guys and both of us.
We think you're a fucking idiot.
We don't find these failed attempts at humor or banter at all amusing, at all charming. You don't sound smart. The only way for you to come up with something to say is to remove all context and all nuance, the way a child would, because you argue like a child.
You have a childlike mind, trying to match yours with mine, and you can't. Everything I said has come into fruition. He's not dropping down to light heavyweight, he won't fight Bivol, forget about Artur, and at cruiser...
He just ducked Jai Opataya. It's in black and white.
In print. I didn't write it. Boxing Scene wrote it.
Did you block that part out of your mind or something? Were you not looking at the screen when I read the article? Or did you pretend not to see it so you wouldn't have to acknowledge that David Benavidez just turned down Jai Opataya?
It's not as complex or convoluted as you make it out to be. It's simple. You're not dropping back down to light heavy because you can't make it. You'll say it's because Dimitri's busy, but either way, you won't do it.
And you won't fight Jai either.
Because it's all about convincing idiots like you that he wants the big fights, they just never seem to happen.
It's always somebody else's fault.
You eat that shit up. I just don't understand why you want me to do it too. If it's good enough for you, that should be enough.
Maybe it's because you don't really believe them.